Today I would like to give you 5 tips for reading in a second language. Reading in a second language can be an intimidating task, but it doesn't have to be. So let's start off with number 1. Start with readers. Readers are books that are aimed at people who are still learning the language. In days past, they were primarily aimed at students because it was assumed that that was the age at which we started learning a second language. But more and more you can find ones aimed at adult readers on a wide variety of topics, and you can probably find things you would be interested in. Tip number 2, reread books you already know. I'm talking about reading books in translation. I've read O Alquimisto, The Alchemist, and La Alquimista in the original Portuguese, English, and Esperanto. I've read The Lightning Thief, at least the first book, in Portuguese as well as English. Rereading books means that you don't get lost in the story because you already know the story, and you can focus more on the language they're using to tell the story. My third tip is read nonfiction. Typically, we think of novels as being light reading and nonfiction as being heavier and harder, but when it comes from a language point of view, the opposite is often true. Nonfiction authors strive to be as clear as possible and to use as simple a language as possible to get their point across. Plus, we read nonfiction generally in areas that we're already interested in, and we will learn that kind of vocabulary very quickly. So don't be put off by the idea of nonfiction and try it out in whatever language you're learning. My fourth tip is to give any book at least a couple of chapters before you decide to give up on it. I've picked up many, many books and read the first chapter and thought, this is too difficult, I can't make it through. But what I've discovered with time is that every genre of literature and every author has their own unique style, their own unique their own unique words that they use frequently. And the first couple chapters, you have to get used to that. And maybe you have to look up more words because it's stuff you haven't been exposed to before. But as you get going in the book, you get comfortable with it and it becomes easier. For example, I recently read and did a video on Amor de Perdição in Portuguese. And because of the time period, there were lots of things that I didn't know the vocabulary for, like the type of gun they were using. And so I had to learn that. And I could have very easily given up thinking it was too hard, but a little bit of patience and it got easier as it went on. Which is my fifth and final tip for reading in a second language: be patient with yourself. Our reading speed will drop considerably when it's our second language, especially if we're not very good at that language yet. So you may go from reading a book a week to reading a page a day, and that's okay. Just realize you're going to read slower for a while. It gets better. It gets easier. Be patient. Continue to try, and hopefully you will succeed. And those are my 5 tips for reading in a second language. If you've enjoyed this video, give it a like and thumbs up, subscribe for more, and see you next time.